Oak Island Treasure Discovery Script. Simple version. Rick and Marty Laganina have finally done something amazing that people have been waiting for years to see. They found a $150 million treasure of gold from the Knights Templar buried deep in Oak Island. But it's not just gold bars and coins. They also found old objects with centuries-old Templar symbols and mysterious items in underground rooms that prove a connection historians have argued about for decades. The legend says that the Knights Templar buried their treasure here so nobody could ever find it. And now that locked secret might have been opened. As the team went deeper underground, they found stones with weird symbols, old seals, and a map that pointed straight to a secret underground room. But the really shocking part came when cameras caught something moving at night, like someone else was watching the place. That same night, they doubled the security at the site, and boxes full of gold and artifacts were taken out with heavy protection. This discovery is so huge that governments, collectors, and even the Vatican are paying attention. The question is, why did this treasure show up now after so many years? And who will benefit from it, and who will be scared? Historians think that if it's real, then it's not just treasure, but proof that could change history. So stick around, because what happens next might not just be a story, but the truth that will blow everyone's minds. If you don't want to miss the next big reveal of this mystery, then subscribe now and turn on notifications. Just hearing the name, Oak Island, gives you chills. This small place on the coast of Nova Scotia, Canada, has been hiding one of the world's biggest mysteries for hundreds of years. The story starts in 1795, when three young guys, Daniel McGinnis, John Smith, and Anthony Vaughan, were walking around this island and found a spot that changed their lives forever. They saw a pit where the ground had sunk in a weird way, like someone had been digging there before. Being curious, they started digging. Just a few feet down, they found thick wooden boards. When they moved the boards, they found dirt again, and then more boards, a little deeper. This same pattern kept showing up every 10 feet. Slowly they realized this wasn't just any ordinary hole. Someone had deliberately buried something really deep here. As word got out, people started coming up with all kinds of stories. Some said it was pirate treasure. Others claimed it was the secret treasure of the Knights Templar. Some people even believed it held secrets from ancient civilizations or religious artifacts. Over the years, many expeditions happened. Some used new technology. Some spent tons of money, but each time the result was either disappointment or disaster. Flooding stopped the digging. Machines got stuck, and sometimes people's lives were even in danger. As the money pit got deeper, its mysteries became even more complicated. Still, the place never stayed quiet. Every few years, a new team would come here with new money and new hopes. They thought they would find the real treasure this time. But Oak Island seems to write its own story. Each time it shows a little secret and then hides the rest. Today, more than 200 years later, the story of the money pit is still as mysterious as ever. That's why Rick and Marty's discovery is considered so huge. Because if what they're saying is true, Oak Island may have finally revealed its biggest secret to the world. The story of the Knights Templar sounds like something from a movie. A religious and military group that controlled Europe and the Middle East, and then suddenly disappeared, leaving behind only mysteries and stories. The Templars started in 1119 AD. At first their goal was to protect pilgrims traveling to the Holy Land. Over time this organization became very powerful. They had their own army, their own banking system, and direct contact with many kings and queens of Europe. People saw them not only as a religious order, but also as trusted protectors. But as their power grew, so did the hate toward them. In 1307, King Philip IV of France and Pope Clement V accused the Templars of many serious crimes like heresy, secret rituals, and political conspiracies. These charges were never proven, but on October 13, 1307, Templars were suddenly arrested all throughout France. Many were tortured, and eventually their leader, Jacques de Molay, was burned alive. This is where the real mystery begins. Because before they were arrested, the Templars' treasure had disappeared. It wasn't just gold and silver. It was said to contain holy relics, religious manuscripts, and maybe even the Holy Grail. The stuff legends are made of. Historians believe the Templars sent their most trusted warriors to hide the treasure, and nobody knows where it is to this day. This is where Oak Island comes into the picture. Some theories say the Templars carried their treasure across the Atlantic Ocean from Europe by ship and hid it in a safe, remote location. And Nova Scotia's Oak Island is at the top of that list. The depth of Oak Island's money pit, its complicated booby traps, and the mysterious symbols found there remind many people of the Templars' engineering skills and secrecy. Also, rocks found on Oak Island in the 1700s and 1800s have carvings that look like Templar crosses. Some researchers even claim that ancient rock carvings found near the island directly match the Templar seal. However, this connection is debated. Many historians think this might just be a coincidence, while others are convinced that Oak Island is where the Templars' lost treasure is buried. Whatever the truth is, the Templar legend and the mystery of Oak Island are so connected that they're now hard to separate. And when explorers like Rick and Marty say they've found evidence of the centuries-old Templar gold stash, the story gets even more interesting because maybe we're getting closer to the truth the Templars hid over 700 years ago. At the beginning of this season, Rick and Marty Lagañina had made it clear that this time their mission on Oak Island was going to be bigger and more serious than ever before. For years they had dug here, searched and lost hope many times. But this time their approach was different. In front of the camera they said, "Now the time has come for Oak Island to tell us its real secret." At the beginning of the season, the whole team had a long meeting where they did a detailed analysis of all the searches, clues found, and failed attempts from the previous season. They knew that every dig is risky. Water can fill up, soil can collapse, or even after months of hard work, nothing can be found. But this time, they were determined to move forward, only after learning from past mistakes. First of all, it came down to technology. In earlier seasons, they had used metal detectors, drilling, and water removal machines. But this time they ordered the latest ground-penetrating radar, GPR, and 3D scanning technology. This technology can show a clear picture of the layers and empty spaces inside the ground. The advantage of this was that before starting to dig, they could guess what might be below: stone structure, wooden beams, or a secret room. Then came the most important decision of choosing the location. There are many places on Oak Island where signs of treasure have been found: Money Pit, Smith's Cove, Borehole 10X, and North Swamp. The team first looked at the old data from all these places and compared it with the new readings they got from the GPR scan. Then they found a location that had also given strange signs before, like metal readings, structures built in straight lines underwater, and marks made on old maps. The most interesting thing about this location was that it was in a part of the island where large-scale digging had never been done before. Even the old records had only incomplete information about this place, as if someone had deliberately hidden this part. Rick was certain that if the Templars had hidden their treasure, this place could be the key. With planning complete, the team began preparing the site. Heavy machinery was brought in, water pumps were installed, and barriers were put up around the site for security. Marty, always a little practical and careful with money, created a strict schedule for budget and timeline, while Rick was more focused on the history of the dig and the clues found. When the drilling machine first went into the ground, there was an eerie silence among the team. All eyes were on the monitor, because that's where they would find out what was down there. And when the scan showed metallic readings, Rick had a slight smile on his face, as if he was sure that this time, Oak Island would not let them leave empty. This is where the real journey of this season began. A dig that was going to uncover one of the biggest mysteries in history. Just a few days after the digging began, Oak Island revealed the first layer of its mystery. As the machine went deeper, some strange things started coming out from between the soil and rocks. First, the team found some pieces of wood, which were clearly very old and looked like they were hand-carved. But the real shocking moment came when they found strange symbols carved on a large stone. These symbols weren't ordinary. They included cross-like shapes, triangles, and some designs that seemed to be the language of an ancient civilization. Rick immediately had them cleaned and took pictures of them and sent them to experts. Some historians said that these symbols were very similar to the seal of the Knights Templar. As the digging continued, they found a small piece of metal buried in the soil. When it was cleaned, it turned out to be an old seal. That seal also had the same mysterious crossmark, and letters in an unknown language were carved all around it. No one on the team could read those letters, but everyone guessed that they could be in Latin or some older script. The biggest surprise came when they found an old piece of parchment that was rotting because of moisture. It was carefully removed and immediately sent to the lab. When they did a little chemical treatment on it, a map started appearing between the faded lines. Part of Oak Island was drawn on the map, and there was an X mark on it showing the location of a secret underground chamber. Rick looked at the map and said, "If this is correct, then we are standing right above the biggest treasure in history." Marty was a little doubtful, but excitement was clearly visible on his face. The team started drilling at the same place as shown on the map. Slowly, the drill went down, and at about 100 feet, the machine hit an empty space. Everyone focused on the monitor. It was a completely flat surface, as if someone had built a room out of stones. Rick decided not to take any risks this time. He specially ordered a waterproof camera that could record even in narrow tunnels and underwater. The camera was slowly lowered into the empty space. At first, only fog and mud were visible on the screen, but as the camera angle changed, a faint golden glow became visible. "Are you guys seeing this, too?" Rick's voice shook slightly. Marty leaned toward the monitor. "This is gold. Solid gold." The camera moved closer and showed the glow was coming from something solid, lying in the corner of the room. Getting closer, they could see it was a wooden box with gold plating on the edges. But there wasn't just one box. There were other strange things all around, pieces of metal, broken pottery, and old symbols carved on the walls. Along with the excitement, the team now faced a big danger. The chamber was half filled with water. The water was light green in color, which clearly showed that some chemical element had been mixed in it. Going down could be extremely dangerous. If this water is poisonous, it will be impossible to go inside. "We will have to pump it out, and this can take weeks," said Marty. Rick was a little anxious, but he accepted that rushing could cause harm. Preparations for pumping the water began. But that very night, something strange happened. Motion sensor alarms installed near the site suddenly started ringing. Security cameras caught a faint shadow as if someone was watching the dig site from a distance. The team didn't ignore it and doubled the security. The next day, when the camera was again lowered into the chamber, the box was there, but the soil around it seemed a little disturbed, as if someone had tried to reach there at night. This increased the tension among the entire team, as it meant that someone else was also looking for the treasure on Oak Island, not just them. They now had only one mission: drain the water, get inside, and get the box before it was too late. Everything was going according to plan. Water was being pumped out, cameras were recording inside the chamber, and the team was confident that the box would come out in a few days. But then came a night that shook the entire team. Around 2 a.m., the motion sensor alarms installed at the site suddenly rang. The security guards immediately checked the CCTV footage. A blurry image appeared on the screen. A human-like figure, moving around the dig site. Its movements were slow, and it went straight to the tent where the dig map and data were kept. When Rick was shown this footage, worry was clearly visible on his face. He said, "This can't be just a local person being curious. He knows where to come and what to look for." Marty immediately decided, "We don't just have to dig. We have to protect the treasure." The very next day, high barriers were put up around the site. The number of security cameras was doubled and guards were posted at entry and exit points. Some of the machinery was even fitted with GPS trackers, so that if anyone tried to steal it, they could be traced immediately. The atmosphere among the team had become a little tense by now. Everyone knew that a discovery like this meant that people all over the world could be after it. And maybe some people would even want this treasure to never come out. After several days of pumping and preparation, the day finally came when it was time to go down inside the chamber. The heavy crane, waterproof lights, and high-powered drills were all ready. Rick gathered the team and said, "What we will take out today is not just ours, but a part of history." The crane hook was slowly lowered, and the box, half underwater, was carefully tied up. Everyone held their breath as the crane slowly pulled the box up. Water drops falling down. The box looked like the climax of a movie. The suspense was building with every inch it came up. As the box was fully brought up, a thin layer of gold sparkled on its wooden surface. The marks of the old Templar cross were clearly visible. The metal on the corners of the box was still shiny, as if time hadn't touched it, despite being in water for centuries. Marty slowly lifted the lid of the box. What they saw inside made everyone quiet for a moment. The box was filled with thick gold bars, and among them were many artifacts: old swords, a cup with detailed design, and a seal that may have belonged to a High Templar official. Rick's eyes filled with tears. He said, "This is not just treasure. It's proof of the story we've been chasing all our lives." The rest of the team was emotional too. After years of hard work, cold, rain, danger, and disappointment, Oak Island had finally revealed its biggest secret. The cameras captured the moment from every angle. The faces of the team, the sparkle of the gold, and the atmosphere of history, mystery, and triumph all at once. The footage went viral around the world. Social media was amazed. News channels were calling it the discovery of the century, and historians considered it to be solid evidence of a 700-year-old Templar treasure. But for Rick and Marty, the story didn't end there. They knew this was just the first box, and there were probably more boxes waiting for them down below. And now they had just one mission: to get the rest of the treasure before someone else got their hands on it. Within a few hours of the first treasure box being found on Oak Island, the news spread everywhere. At first, local news channels showed it as breaking news. Rick and Marty Laganina found centuries-old Templar gold stash. The very next moment, the news reached international media. Major news networks like BBC, CNN, and National Geographic made it their headline. It was like a storm on social media. Oak Island started trending on Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. People were sharing screenshots of live footage. Some were zooming in on the shine of the gold, while others were looking for the Templar crossmark on it and writing their theories. A debate broke out on Reddit and Facebook groups. Some were saying that finally a centuries-old mystery had been solved, while others claimed that it was just a publicity stunt. But the most interesting thing was that big collectors and governments noticed this. Discovery. It is said that some private collectors secretly sent offers to the team. "We want to buy this box, whatever the price." At the same time, the local government of Nova Scotia immediately issued an official notice that all the remains and treasures found from Oak Island will now be protected under the Heritage Protection Law. And then came the name that made the whole story even more serious. Vatican news started coming, that representatives of the Vatican were about to reach Nova Scotia. Many people believed that if this is really Templar treasure, then Vatican has a claim on it because the Knights Templar were connected with the church. Meanwhile, the atmosphere around Oak Island changed. Where earlier there were only search teams and some local workers, now there was a crowd of international reporters, researchers, and security vans. Helicopters were circling above, and Coast Guard boats were deployed in the water. It seemed like it had become a historical battlefield where everyone had come to secure their place. For Rick and Marty, this situation was as exciting as it was stressful. They knew that now the task was not just to get the treasure out. They also had to keep it safe, stay within the law, and face the expectations of the world. Historians' reaction to this discovery was not exactly the same. And that is what makes this story even more interesting. On one hand, some historians were very excited. They said, "We have been saying for years that there is a connection between Oak Island and the Knights Templar, and this box is solid proof of that." According to them, the symbols on the box, the artifacts found in it, and the design of the gold bars all matched the time and style of the Templars. One famous archaeologist even said, this discovery could be the end of the biggest mystery in history. But on the other hand, many experts had doubts. They argued that it would be too quick to assume that this is real Templar gold just by looking at the symbols and design. They said that until the metal is carbon dated and a thorough scientific analysis of the artifacts is done, it cannot be proved that it is really 700 years old. Some even said that it could have been hidden by someone later so that the Templar story could be proved true. This started a debate in the media and social media. On one hand, people were calling Rick and Marty the world's most successful treasure hunters, while on the other hand, some people were asking, is all this just to increase the ratings of a TV show? Rick and Marty didn't react much to this debate, and they said, what we saw and found is in front of everyone. We will give both science and history a chance to tell the truth. This argument between historians may have lasted for months, or even years, but everyone agreed on one thing. Oak Island is no longer the peaceful place it used to be. Whether true or false, the discovery has sparked people's imagination, and once again proves that mysteries never lose their appeal. And that's perhaps Oak Island's greatest strength. It gives us answers as well as new questions. Even after the first treasure chest was dug up, Oak Island did not reveal all its secrets. Rather, this discovery raised new questions. Questions that only the island could answer. The first and biggest question was, why was the treasure found now, after so many years? Oak Island has been searched for the last 200 years. Countless teams came and went. Millions of dollars were spent, but this level of success has never been achieved before. Was it just luck? Or was there some other reason? Some people believe that recent changes in weather and sea tides opened up the underground passages a little, which helped the team find the right place. At the same time, some theories say that maybe an invisible hand wanted to bring this discovery to light. Now, whether it was human or something else is unknown. The second big question, is this the entire treasure, or just a part? The box that Rick and Marty found during the dig was extremely valuable. But the treasure of an organization, like the Knights Templar, cannot be so small. If the stories are to be believed, the Templars had dozens of boxes, religious relics, and maybe secrets that could change the course of history. So, where are the rest? The third question is even more exciting. Is there more mystery hiding deep down? The images from the cameras and scanning showed signs of more chambers and passageways. There are some areas where the metal readings are extremely strong, but access is currently impossible because the passageways are filled with water and mud. The answers to these questions will not only complete the story of Oak Island, but will also determine how the discovery will play out in the years to come. With these new questions, Rick and Marty immediately began planning their next strategy. The first priority was to figure out a new dig location. The team rechecked the remaining GPR ground-penetrating radar scans and 3D maps. The scans found some points that had been missed before, particularly places that appeared to be connected to the existing chamber. Marty, always careful about risk and budget, suggested focusing on one new location that showed the most metal signals instead of digging in multiple locations at once. Rick agreed, but said it would be unfair to completely abandon the other locations, because the treasure could be scattered across multiple sites. Technology upgrades were also an important part of the plan. This time they decided to order more advanced water pumping systems, high-definition underwater drones, and artificial intelligence-based scanning software. These systems would not only provide a clear map of the structure at depth, but would also be able to identify objects hidden in the water, whether it was metal or wood. But as exciting as the plan was, it also had big risks. The first risk: water. Oak Island's underground network is connected to the ocean, and one small mistake could flood the entire dig. The second risk: legal and political. Now that governments and the Vatican are interested in this discovery, every step has to be taken within the limits of law. The third threat: human. The mysterious activities captured on camera in the last few days proved that the team is not alone in going after this treasure. Rick said in the team meeting, "This is no longer just a search. It is a race, and we have to win this race. The journey ahead will not be easy, but one thing is certain. Whatever is hidden under Oak Island will slowly be revealed. And when that day comes, we may all have to rewrite the history books." When the box came up from the crane and the team saw the gold bars and centuries-old artifacts in front of their eyes for the first time, everyone became silent for a moment. It seemed as if time had stopped. The cameras were capturing the scene from every angle. There was a mixed feeling of pride, tiredness, and happiness on the faces of the team. Rick said softly, while touching the gold, "This is just the beginning." There was a strange confidence in his voice, as if he already knew that this treasure is not complete. But this is the first page of the story that Oak Island has been hiding for centuries. Marty also said while looking at the camera, "If people are thinking that we have revealed the secret of Oak Island, then they are wrong. The real game will begin now. And this is the truth." More questions have come up than what has been found. The rest of the chambers, the metal readings found in the scans, and the mysterious map all make a strong case for next season. The team knew they had to not only find the treasure, but also keep it safe. From outside threats to underwater traps, every step would be a challenge. But their actions showed they weren't backing down. If you thought Oak Island had revealed its biggest secret, get ready, because this story doesn't end here. The real truth, the real treasure, and maybe a secret known to only a few people for centuries are all yet to be revealed. In the upcoming season, Rick and Marty will not only dig up the rest of the boxes, but maybe answer questions that have troubled historians, researchers, and treasure hunters for years. Is the mystery of Oak Island connected to the Templars? Is the Holy Grail, or another religious relic, buried deep down? And the biggest question of all, will this discovery change history forever? If you don't want to miss the next piece of truth, subscribe to the channel now and turn on the notification bell. Because when Oak Island speaks again, believe.